So I was on Twitter today and I noticed that Christianity and Islam was trending. So I clicked on it and I noticed there was a bunch of blue checkmark reporters from Canada praising Trudeau, telling us, how great he was by how he addressed this bigot essentially, and how transparent he is by holding these town hall meetings or discussions and not vetting the questions. We'll see about that, but you know what they fail to usually mention is that all of these people are getting paid off by the Trudeau administration. He promised to increase the media's funding, not including the CBC's, by like $600 million. He's going to give it to all these struggling news agencies that nobody's watching anymore because they suck and they're producing shitty content. They're just stealing off of each other and just re-reporting, rewriting stories other people write. So nobody cares anymore to watch this shit, and they're still trying to, they don't want to move over to the digital era because then they're gonna have to fire a lot of reporters and whatnot, and then they're gonna be like no, and then they're gonna start unions, and it's gonna be shit for them. So they're like lobbying the government to give them money, and now they finally listen. So obviously these people are not gonna bite the hand that feeds them. That there doesn't need to be a discussion like, oh, we're going to work together. And it's not like the media and Trudeau, they come together and shake hands behind closed doors. Maybe in some instances they do. But generally, it's more like, yeah, people, if somebody comes to you and starts giving you lots of money, generally you're not going to do anything that bad about them. You're not going to start to criticize them that much, because then that huge amount of money that you like to have is going to stop. So it just this is just the way people generally work. But they're all praising him, sucking his dick, and telling us how great he is. And if you watch the actual town meeting, he doesn't answer anybody's actual question. Generally, he just reverts with, oh, Canada is great, we're a country of laws, diversity is our strength, we need more immigrants, it brings us wealth and money, yada yada yada. Nonsense. Stephen Harper, the party of Stephen Harper and conservatives and whatever. Like he just says the same shit every goddamn time. So it doesn't even matter that he holds these town halls, because you don't get any real information out of it. And other than maybe seeing him be really fucking stupid by saying like, oh no, it's actually people kind, we call people in Canada, right? The media, they didn't like tear him up for that. They're like, they started like writing articles, be like, well, maybe we should start calling people this, and he's very progressive for saying this. And it's like, whatever he does, he's gonna get praised for it. And he was getting praised again for this response he gave to this guy who's like, Christianity and Islam do not mix, which is 100% true. The only reason they can kind of coexist right now is because they are a minority in a generally secular or Christian country. So when we are the majority, then they can coexist. Then they're allowed to live here, and it's not so bad. They have all the same privileges and rights and freedom that everybody else has, regardless of what the fuck they may tell you. I'm a privilege, I'm oppressed. Well, you came here voluntarily, generally. Every immigrant that is in Canada came here voluntarily. Remember that. We didn't fucking go to your country and bring you on boats and bring you here and make you into slaves, okay? So remember that when you start to complain about this place. But, Islam is not compatible. And just look at their countries. Do Christians and Jews have the same rights that Muslims do in majority Muslim countries? No, they don't. Do Hindus and other people of other religions whom Islam doesn't even consider, the people of the book or something, so they're just like even lesser, like third class citizens, whatever, like you want to call it, like, it's not compatible. These cultures don't mix. When we do bring a lot of Muslim people over, they're the people that are gonna integrate the least. They're the ones that are most likely gonna start their own little, enclaves, more so than like any other group. Like, this is the one group that like resist integration the most out of anybody. And generally lots of cultures don't mix, not just Christianity and Islam. There's plenty of them that don't mix. But Trudeau's answer to this guy was just essentially, immigration is great, diversity is our strength, they bring tons of wealth, and we're bringing all these Syrian refugees over here because we made commitments to the UN, and I believe in the one world government, and we must follow the one world government laws and rules. He didn't say that, but that's what he means by our commitment to the UN. You watch him, he's always like, oh, the rule of law, commitment to the UN. It's just, it just lets him, you're just trying to use that to get away with a lot of stupid shit that he does. Like, oh, why did you give Omar Khadr 10 million? Well, we follow the rule of law in Canada, and, we need to do this. Well, why'd you letting all these people in and not process it? We follow our commitments in Canada to the UN and the global thing, It's just bullshit nonsense, and the people just brush over it. The media doesn't scrutinize them. It's going to scrutinize Trudeau. If it was anybody else, every fucking sentence they say, they'll fact check. They'll be like, oh, what did he mean by this? Oh, he didn't really answer the question there, Jim. Whereas Trudeau, he never answers a question directly, just like he didn't answer this guy's question. The guy at first was asking about the open borders and what he's going to do about the open border problem at the border. And everybody else clapped when he said that. They only booed him when he said the thing about Christianity and Islam. But, Trudeau just ignores that question entirely and goes on to tell us how great fucking immigrants are and how great all these people are. And it's like, what the fuck? And then you get the article from Global News that is just praising Trudeau or promoting some of his talking points and some of the statistics they give you at the end. Just kind of like, it's just more like, oh, immigrants, heavy new immigrant areas are prone to less crime. Well, it's like, this is what they mentioned in the article. It's like, well, yes, because, people who are new immigrants, they are going to commit less crime, because if they do, they'll be deported. Okay, and they're not considering refugees and illegal fucking aliens that are crossing the border. They're not putting these people into these statistics, or if they are, they're lumping them in with the new immigrants that are coming in, who are largely going to do less crime. But what about are they just looking at the new immigrants and new immigrant area, or are you looking at second to third generation? Statistics, you can never fucking trust them, because all these people, they're just like, they're just asked, give me some statistics that prove this, and rework it so then I can so it looks like this to people, and I can present it to people as true and factual, and be like, well, look at the stats. But if you look more deeply into it, you're like, well, they didn't take this into consideration, this. There's so many factors that they leave out on purpose to, manipulate the numbers to get whatever answer that they want. But, the article, yeah, it goes on, and it's like, it just talks about the interaction between the two, and, it's like, and then Trudeau's like responds with praising immigrants, yada, yada, yada. But, and then they go on to say that, like, like I said, that, like, the town hall took place in the very province One suggested that the federal government should suspend its plan on refugees. Statistics Canada data for Toronto has shown an inverse correlation between recent immigrants and violent crimes such as sexual assault, common assault, and robbery. The same research also found that the higher proportion of recent immigrants in a neighborhood, the lower the rate of drugs offenses of all types of violent crime, mischief, and other theft. This is what is in the Global News article. Those results, the research said, were in line with those of most international studies. And, you know, the interesting thing about that is, like, okay, what if you take out Aboriginals from the violent crime statistics in Canada? Then how would these two groups match up? And what if you took, like, actual fucking numbers, didn't lump the refugees and the illegal border crossers in with the other immigrants, and you're not, and also second and third generation, you know, if you had an actual real study. But what this also tells me is, like, oh, see, crime rate goes down with more immigrants. It's like, okay, so, you know, our population replacement in Canada right now is 1.3 or something, a little bit higher. So that's really, really far below the population replacement rate. So, you know, it's like, okay, if you bring in a lot of immigrants, there'll be less crime and less this and, you know, safer and less types of violent crime in your neighborhood. It's like, you know what? I would, even if that were true, I would rather not be replaced than have my neighborhood a little bit less safe. Which is bullshit also, because, you know, what are the safest goddamn neighborhoods? We all know it. It's white suburban neighborhoods. These are the safest places. These are where, you know, minority people move to when they want to get out of the shithole place that they're currently living. They're like, I'm gonna go live around the white people so I don't get fucking mugged and robbed all the time. You know, I grew up with lots of white people in certain areas, and yeah, no problems generally. There's not tons of fucking violence and crime and all this other shit. But, you know, the more diverse an area is, the more crime that will happen, the less amount of trust that community is going to have. I remember in the video, I think Trudeau was saying, oh, the trust builds with immigration or something. It's like, no, it doesn't. It's a complete opposite. You know, you can find many studies that show this. Even recently, like in Toronto and stuff, they have some things, articles come out talking about it, where it's like, you know, people are no longer leaving their homes. Nobody knows their neighbors anymore. Depression rates are going up. The sense of community is down because people, you know, they don't trust each other anymore because they all look different. They all have different cultures. They don't know anybody. There's all these new people, you know, in their area. So, you know, there's less trust. You know, there's less social unity, and people are just going to section themselves off into little groups until these little groups get big enough to have enough power to then elect one of their people, like the Islamic Party of Ontario, and then govern a little part of Canada the way that they fucking want to do it, right? So it's like, you know, this is going to happen more and more and more. You know, diversity is not our strength. It is not our strength. And this is not saying I'm against immigrants and minorities as a whole or anything. You know, I think there's a place for some, and I think there's a place to have some diversity and stuff in your nation. But and I'm not like, oh, we need to boot out everybody right now. But generally, everybody should be against the increased diversification of Canada. This includes white people, brown people, Asian people, black people. All of you should also be against it, because who's to say your group is going to get the majority? It could be the Chinese group, it could be the Muslim group, it could be this, I don't know, black Nigerian group, whatever. You know, we're better off. You know, you came to this country as a rich, flourishing country, and because it had a majority Western civilization. So why change that? Why change what works? Keep it the same. Fight to keep it the same. regardless of what race you are, because it's going to benefit us all if it remains less diverse. You know, you say that, oh, it sounds so horrible, but it's true. It's just the fucking truth, okay? You know, look at, like I said, look at the most diverse fucking countries. They are not the safest. One of the most diverse countries, I think it's like India. You know, it's a horrible, horrible fucking place. No offense to anybody living in India or anything like that, or people from India, but you know, we don't want to be like that. We don't want this tribal warfare that goes on. You know, like India's like split up like half Muslims, half Hindus. You know, there's going to be another rift in that country soon, and it's like clearly diversity didn't work there. It's not going to fucking work here either. But you know, this whole case with this guy and stuff is just another chance for the media to suck on Trudeau's dick, to tell us how great he is, to be like, oh, look how transparent, yada yada yada. But you know, it's just more propaganda. This is just free publicity for him. This is just free campaigning. Oh, I'm going to talk with these people, and then the media is going to cover. I'm going to talk about my policy positions, and I'm going to attack the other side. You're doing commercials, and you make it so, oh, nobody else can do ads up until 2 months before the election. Does all these changes, and then it sounds good to the regular person. It's like, oh well, this is great. It shortens the time for everybody, and you know, all these other people can't contribute their money for ads. But then you realize, wait, Trudeau has CBC. Trudeau just gave another $600 million to all these other people. He's got all the free fucking fluff coverage, ads, you know, not real ads per se, but you know the media, how they, you know, either lie by omission, how they're only really going to be focusing on a lot of, you know, scandals from the right wing or Doug Ford or whatnot that they love to talk about right now. And it's like, you know, even that thing with the police, how they can like come into your home and whatnot 2 hours after you've been drinking to get you a breathalyzer test. Even the liberal reporters complaining about that, almost none of them bring up that it's Justin Trudeau. There's like, oh, this is a stupid law and blah blah blah. Where's this for reverse? It's like, oh, this is directly result of Doug Ford or this or that, right? They bring them up, but you know, when it's Trudeau, they're just like, oh, this is kind of stupid. It's kind of dumb, and you know, they'll criticize him occasionally, so then they could kind of say like, see, we're not completely unbiased or biased, but you know, it's just the amount of what they cover. You know, it's clearly majority of it is pro Trudeau, pro climate change policies, pro carbon tax, pro immigration, pro this, pro that. So you know, and plus they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. So you know, but this is pretty much all I had to say about this. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.